We have made it to the NBA Finals. Just two teams remain, one best of seven series to determine the champions for the 2023-24 NBA season. Representing the Western Conference, the Dallas Mavericks, and representing the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics. Johnny Sports Network here to provide you with my NBA Finals predictions. And before I get into anything, I want to point out that this matchup that we have between the Mavericks and the Celtics, I do think there is a strong possibility that this could be the best finals series we have had in a while. If you think about it, the last time the NBA Finals has gone to Game 7 was back in 2016 when the Cavaliers rallied from 3 games to 1 down to win the NBA Finals. And since then, there has not been a series to go all 7 games. But I do think that this series right here, I think it's a strong possibility this goes all 7 games. I do guarantee that it does go at least 6 games. I can't see either of these teams in a clean sweep or winning in 5 games. It'll either be 6 or 7. But I am leaning towards this being potentially a 7 game series. And the rest factor that I usually like to favor a team in the beginning of a series, that may not necessarily apply this season because both of these teams will have a week's worth of rest before game 1 of the finals, but the Celtics, they do have more of a rest factor in their favor. But I think the Mavericks, I think they'll be just fine. And I do think game 1 is going to be really competitive. I think it's going to be a very close series from start to finish, as you have the dynamic duos of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving for the Mavericks and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for the Celtics. And also, it's important to keep in mind that Kyrie Irving, he is returning to Boston. The last time he was in Boston for the playoffs, he was really harassed by the Celtics fans. And also, Kristaps Porzingis, he is a former player for the Mavericks, and he has been sitting out these last several games due to injury. And the big question for the Celtics is, will Kristaps Porzingis be ready to go in game 1 or at any point in this series? Because I do think that these two teams, they match up to each other very well. I think that their depth, they both match up to each other. And overall, I am just really excited for this series. And right now, the current narrative's going on. There's a narrative about how the Celtics, they had a Mickey Mouse run, as people call it, and an easy path to the finals, which I understand if you feel that way. But we just need to be honest. You can't deny the Celtics, they had the best record in the league this season, and they were the number 1 overall seed in the Eastern Conference. So let's just be genuinely honest with ourselves here. A number 1 overall seed, they deserve an easy path to a final anyways. What you did in the regular season, it's worthy of a top seed and an easy path. As there's talks about how the Celtics, they got to play the Heat without Jimmy Butler. They got to play against the Cavaliers without Jarrett Allen and Donovan Mitchell for a bit of that series. And they got to play the Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton for games 3 and 4. And speaking of that, I also want to point out that in the conference finals, basically both series, if you ask me, they were almost about the same. as far as the competitiveness, if you take out maybe Game 5 between Mavericks Timberwolves, as both teams, they made it to the finals arguably the same exact way. A competitive series all throughout, but it looks like it's not competitive based off of the results of winning 4-1 in the Maverick situation and 4-0 in the Celtics situation. But of course, there is also controversy when you think about sports, especially professional sports. And I will be honest, I do not know if I'm going to put the word rigged in the title, because based off my observation, whether you believe that this is actually rigged or fixed or not, if you're not a person that doesn't feel like the sports are fixed, or if you do, if they truly do indeed have this fixed and all set up and everything, I haven't seen a conference finals look rigged and fixed like I did this season in the conference finals. If you ask me, Luka Doncic, he got quite a bit of favorable calls in the Western Conference Finals. Which I do get that the NBA, they do have their favorites. Honestly, in my opinion, this is very tough to decide which way the NBA wants to go in this series. Do you want to give Luka Doncic his first championship when they had Nikola Jokic win his first championship last year, and you had Giannis win his first championship back in 2021, and Luka Doncic is one of the major faces in the NBA? Or do you want to have the Celtics, a historic franchise, a franchise that is known for championships and success, but hasn't won a championship in a while? So it is very tough to decide on that one. But I do think that it's going to be one of two different outcomes. It's either going to be Mavericks in 6 or Celtics in 7. I guarantee that it's going to be one of those two outcomes for this NBA Finals. But right now, I'd be leaning towards the Celtics in 7, because in Game 7, anything can really happen. And it's been a while since the Finals has gone all 7 games. And I do think we are due for a 7-game Finals series. But you just never know with the NBA. Maybe they do want Luka Doncic to get his first championship. I mean, lots of talks online about how he got a lot of favorable calls in the Western Conference Finals. But also at the same time, Jaylen Brown probably should have gotten ejected from the game in Game 4 with his foul against TJ McConnell, which, ironically, that was very similar to a foul I saw in the WNBA not even 48 hours before that, when Alyssa Thomas committed a flagrant foul against Angel Reese, and Alyssa Thomas was ejected from that game. So just something very interesting. But let me know your NBA Finals prediction. Also, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, enjoy the NBA Finals. And we will see what happens in what I'm hoping and thinking is going to be the best final series we have had in a long time.